Yes, so part three, I basically realized that anything was possible. And I started changing my life. And I say a few years later, not a few, maybe like 4 to 5 years later, something like that. It was a while before I started dating again. And I was trying to get myself together and do all of the right things. And I just felt like it was kind of time. I needed to not only be around my daughter all the time. It was like just always me and her, and we all go pop in on my neighbor. But it was getting a bit lonely, and I wanted some adult activity. So basically, I met this guy across the street from my projects, and he just seemed so kind and so polite, and I just felt like he was different, you know? And he was like, "Hi, how y'all doing? God bless." He came being very polite, and I was like, "Hello." He was like, "Hi, how you doing? You seem like a nice young lady. I was wondering if we could hang out sometime." And I was like, okay. He was like, "Do you mind if we walk around a little bit?" So we walked around, we was talking and stuff. And basically, he wanted to walk me home. And I'm like, nah, I'm not really ready for nobody to walk me home. But you could walk me to the park and that'd be cool. So he walked me to the park and he went his way and I went my way. And basically, I gave him my number that day and we started conversing. He asked me, could he take me out? So basically, we hung out. We didn't go to no restaurant or nothing. We just hung out at a park with his friends and stuff. And he was kind. He was helping all of the young ladies that day, his friends, going to the store for them. It was like he was like polite. So I thought. And basically, yeah, we started kicking it from there. But throughout the time us kicking it, he just seemed very secretive. Like I was more talkative, and it was just like, I don't know, like he was just very secretive and just not expressing himself and just very secretive. So long story short, I started experiencing like weird behavior, not from him, but like from myself, like my thoughts. It was weird. Like I was having like weird dreams about my daughter, like premonitions. And around this time, I started learning about angel numbers, and 1111 kept popping up, and it was just like a lot of synchronicities in this experience. So time went on. I started going through something. I'm like, somebody trying to hurt my baby. Like, it was weird. And basically, I started, going through another experience where I was becoming paranoid. And all I kept hearing was, go back to where it all began. Go back to where it all began. And I didn't understand. And I went to my neighbor's house. I'm like, I'm going through something. I don't know what it is. I need to call my sister. My phone was broke at this time. And I'm like, I don't know what it is. So I called my sister. I said, I'm going through something. I need to check myself into the hospital. I need to check myself into the hospital. So my sister called my other sister. I said, I'm going to the hospital now. They called the ambulance for me. And they took me to the hospital. And my sister, she met us there. And I was like, we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. And I guess the way that I was talking, she was like, you sound like mommy. I said, I know. We're going to be good. We're going to be good. I know some things. We're going to be good. And she was like, all right, you get the help you need. Your baby going to be all right. You just take care of what you need to take care of so you could come home to your baby. This is where it gets a bit intense. Because before I got checked in, I heard a voice in my head said, don't you tell them nothing. And it sounded like my grandmother's voice. And it was like, don't you tell them nothing. You're there to observe what's going on. And these people don't got your best interests at heart. So you don't tell them nothing. So they was asking me questions, and they was like weird questions like, do you feel like you're higher than life? And just, do you feel like going around having intercourse with different people? And just weird questions that was really, really uncomfortable. And I'm like, no, like, but ain't you supposed to feel good about yourself? And they just was looking at me weird, and it's like the energy was, whew, it was intense. But anyway, I had to sit in the waiting room, and they took all of my things. And when I got upstairs, when they finally got me a room, I got upstairs, I just felt the energy very well. And it was like so dense and so scary and just everything. But I felt like I was supposed to be there due to the fact that it was a lot of things that just looked familiar to me. Like, just everything looked familiar. Like, and then I heard a voice in my head say, remember your anchor, remember your anchor. And I turned around and I looked at the picture on the wall, right? I don't know if anybody ever saw Good Times, when they had that picture of the ancestors, like when they was dancing, playing music and all of that. It was a picture, just like an ancient picture. Like they had this picture since the 80s or 90s or something. Like everything looked like it was back in the days. So basically they had all of these different like little pictures on the wall. And it was like our ancestors dancing with instruments and all of that. And on the picture, it was wrote in script, rhythm. So it was like, remember your anchor. And I read it and I seen that it said rhythm. It was like, oh my God, they telling me to think of rhythm during this time. So I just kept saying, I got to get home to rhythm. I got to get home to rhythm. I don't know why I'm here, Lord. Please show me why I'm here. Excuse me. So I can get home to my baby. So basically, I went through like a super traumatic experience. Like, and I just seen a lot of people who was just like going through it. But it was like some people was familiar, like as if I knew. It was this boy in there. I think his name was Brandon. I'm only mentioning his name because he had a very familiar energy, I want to say. And he was like, he just was communicating with me very well and was like telling me stories. And he called me Mama Love. And he was like, yeah, I'm happy you back. I'm happy you back. I'm happy to see you again. Like, and it was like he knew me, but I cannot tell you that I knew this boy. But he felt like he knew me. His name was Brandon. He felt like he knew me. And he was like, no matter what goes on here, just breathe. Like, he was like, you know how like when you smoke a blunt, you just and so when I was feeling the energy getting heavy, those were some of the techniques I chose to use. So it was scary, like definitely at night and stuff. And basically it was like everybody left the hospital, and it was this nurse that monitored the floor. It was two of them. One was asleep and one was all the way down the hall. And the first night was okay because it was like, it was two people there, two guys. But mind you, I don't understand how they had men in the women's area monitoring, you know what I mean, females and stuff. So it was like, it was not the most best environment for anybody, I can say. It felt very haunted. I know y'all probably like, oh, she's bugging. But it's true. It felt very scary. It just wasn't good. So basically, I just was there listening to the things that was going on. So the next night in particular was the one that I want to talk about. I was in the hallway and I was singing because I couldn't sleep, and it was like I was so nervous and just everything. I was just so nervous. If anybody knows, anybody who lives in New York, just know that the energy is different here, because I've traveled to different places and never really had such a traumatic experience like the way I feel when I'm in New York City. And basically, it was only one guy like watching the floors, but he seemed creepy, like very creepy, right? So I was singing my song and something said, don't you be afraid, you stand your ground. Whatever he tried to do, you stand your ground. And I just kept hearing that, and I got even more nervous. I'm like, wait, hold up, what is this? And I started singing, I'm living my best life. I ain't going back and forth with these people. I'm living my best life. And I just kept singing it. And something said, look down the hallway. I'm nervous. Shake it off, shake it off. God got you, God got you. Shake it off. I looked down the hallway, and the man was coming towards me. And he just grabbed me, and I just started screaming. When I say screaming, I mean screaming, singing to the top of my lungs to wake everybody up, because I just felt like he was gonna hurt me. I just felt it. It was like how he did it. He was super scary. Like, Jesus, Lord, I'm grateful that I'm past that. And I'm releasing this from my soul, because at the end of the day, that was very traumatic for me. And I've realized that I never really spoke about these experiences because I felt like people would think I'm crazy. But we in a new day, and we in a new time, and things are changing. Like, and I'm going to be honest about the things that I experienced, because I feel like that's my purpose in life, to not be afraid of who God created me to be, you know? So anyway, long story short, he grabbed me. I started screaming. So everybody came out, people from different floors, nurses, doctors, everybody finally came to the floor, because we was on the floor alone. And I felt like he thought he was going to attack me. But he didn't realize how blessed I was and how prayed up I was. And the ancestors already warned me about what was about to happen, I believe. Because each person's story is different. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't tell anybody how their reality was. Only they can speak about it, because that's their arrangement between God and them, you know, and their soul. So basically, anyway, he grabbed me. So eventually they took me in the room, put restraints and stuff on me. And I just kept singing. And everybody was coming in like, wow, such a beautiful voice. And I never even thought I had a beautiful voice. Like, and could you excuse me for a moment, please?